look, either you gonna do it and you're not. Either this your role or you not. And so now we got into this thing where nothing is defined no more. It's just be whatever you want to be. And so if you can be whatever you want to be and you can define your own rules, that means you're never wrong. Because people can't handle being wrong and held accountable. Accountability is out the window.
It looks like you got so many feelings, Fred, that you didn't even answer my question. Welcome to the TMF Podcast, where there are too many feelings. I'm your host, T. Staples, and I'm joined today by...
It's your main man, Freddie B.
I don't know what that was, but who else we got?
Hey, what it do? It's your girl Lana Boo.
And
it's the good doctor, Dr. Buddy Lee.
All right, he done added some superlatives back, y'all.
He good today.
He is good.
I think with today's subject, he real good.
We're gonna see. Listen, for all y'all listening, we'll bring you all these feelings from the comforts of our home. That's right, 100% remote. So if you feel our show, show us how you feel by subscribing so you can get notified when the new episodes drop. And if you like what you're hearing, send us a message. Our handles are in the description. We'd love to hear how you feel. In today's episode, we're going to put it all on the table. Should men be expected to pay it all? Or should women chip in? But before we get into that topic, I'm going to play y'all a couple of clips just to set it up. That's right. I went on the internet and I scoured some different things and I found a few people talking about this same topic. You actually could type this in, should we pay 50-50 or should men pay it all? Put that in your search bars and see what comes up. And you'll find yourself going down a whole rabbit hole of information. So I'm going to play a couple of clips, three clips to kind of give some context and to help spark some thoughts on the matter. Here we go.
What's interesting for us is that we've been together for almost 10 years, lived together for about 4, and been married for 1.5. And we've never gotten to the point where we feel like we need to actually combine finances. We still have completely separate bank accounts because we just, I think from an early stage, got used to like alternating with the larger purchases, like if we're going out to eat or, he'll buy the plane tickets home and I'll rent the car or whatever. Yeah. And so we've kind of maintained that and it just works really well for us because we each know exactly what's coming into our accounts and we know what we can afford to splurge here and there. Yeah. We both, we talk about saving, like our own savings and stuff. Yeah. And it's just worked out well. So there wasn't like some huge change when we moved in together because we just kept doing the same thing. Like I write him a rent check every month and then he writes the full check to our landlord and we just kept doing that and it's just been easy and we never argue about money or anything like that because we just...
He's just there.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it,
Yeah.
We have our own sort of accounting methods that we both use and we both make it work.
I think the biggest challenge for managing our money when we first moved in together was how to split living costs. Rent is easy, utilities are easy, but going out together,
food
having
and
dinner,
drinks and all the other little
groceries,
stuff.
just the household necessities, just realizing that one of us who might have taken on more of the, day-to-day things that we do started paying for more of them, but was making less money. So figuring out how to balance that and how to make that a little bit more equal.
So money is since we got married has been the hardest thing to figure out, and we're still figuring it out. And funny thing is that most of our friends who also have gotten married recently are also in the same boat. But I would say the smartest thing we've done is having a joint credit card together, where we no longer get to the checkout counter at the grocery store and are like, oh, can you put half on this card, half on that card? We have this joint card, and I think that's starting us down the path of figuring it out, but it's hard.
Okay, so there was a few couples there. Let's take a listen to an alpha male or a self-proclaimed alpha male. Let's see what he has to say on the matter.
Ways, I'm set in my ways very firmly, and they go back since I was very young. I can remember even, as a young teenager, where I was involved in some kind of relationship with a girl, and they always had more money than I did. I was always broke. And in those instances where I didn't have the money to pay, I would just not go. So the answer to the question is, when it comes to me, I would never, ever, under any circumstance, allow a woman to pay for a bill. I mean, the only exception, let's say, is if for some reason, we were out and we were eating and we had already eaten and I forgot my money. Maybe if I forgot my cash or misplaced it, I would let her pick it up and then I'd reimburse her right away. But aside from that, to contribute towards the bill, not even 1 cent ever. And that's just my personal thing. I can't imagine asking for a girl to pay for half that I invited out or I'm spending time with. So this, for me, not only applies to women, but also to anyone younger than me, employees. Every employee I've ever had, if I've ever had any meals with them, taken them out anywhere, even if we go out for drinks, I never let them pay for anything. It's always on me. And it also applies to female friends, girls who are not my dates, not my girlfriends. If we have drinks together, we eat together, whatever it is, I never let them pay. All right? For me, when it comes to the home bills, if you're going to live with a woman, in my opinion, you should never, ever ask her to pay for half. If you're in a position where you can afford to pay for it, you pay for it. If you guys made that agreement that you're going to move in together for financial reasons, to make both of your lives easier in that sense, and it was already discussed that you were going to each pay half the rent, fine. But the dating thing is the more troubling thing. And what I would advise you young men out there to do is don't be like that, guys. Don't be like that, because it's really a bad look. You know what I'm saying? Have some fucking honor. You are the man. There is a clear distinction between men and males who don't know how to be a fucking man. And this is one of them. You as a man, you pay. No matter what it is.
Jeez. All right. Well, hey, man, you heard what he said. Be a fucking man. Be a fucking man. Okay, well, we got one last clip for y'all. This is from The Religious Man.
And that's why a lot of men disagree with me, because they are not spiritually, they are not leaders, because they don't understand the Bible. And if you understand the Bible, the way God set things up, he never asked a woman to pay half or anything. God told the man, you the head of your wife, and to lead your wife. And one way a man lead his wife is by providing for her. So when it comes down to the mortgage, when it comes down to the light bill and food and electric and reliable transportation, that is a man's responsibility. Point blank. Some of y'all gonna disagree with me now. If a woman single and she working, making her money, and she got a career and she happy, I'm not telling the woman when she meet a man to sit down and let him just take. No, I'm not saying that. If a man should not force his wife to start working. A man should never force his wife to do anything that she don't want to do. But if something happens to that woman where she gets sick or her job lay her off, she get fired, that man ought to be in a position to take care of that woman. Point blank. That man ought to be in a position to take care of that woman, and she should have an option whether she want to work or not. That's what a real man do. That's why I don't believe in the 50-50, because the Bible don't speak about 50-50. The Bible tells me as a man to lead my wife and my family. And one way a man lead is by providing, by being a provider. Now, if a man may not be making what he want to make right now, that's okay. And a woman making more money, that's okay. But I'm trying to teach men and women. I'm trying to teach my women, don't be with a man who just ain't got no drive, no ambition. He ain't got no goals or nothing. He ain't trying to better himself. He good with bringing home $400 or $500 a week, $600 a week. He good with that. And then he wants you to go out and work and bring home, and y'all go half and half and everything. He wants you to cook, clean, and do all that, and give him sex. And I'm trying to teach men, women are not sexual like us. We can be behind on our bills and everything. Light bill do, the mortgage do. But when we see our woman, we want to have sex, because what? We physical. A woman is not a sexual creature like a man. If a woman is not financially secure, it's hard for her to be sexual. It's harder for her to be romantic. When she's worrying about the bill, when she's stressed out about the bills. You got to understand this. So a real man know his role as a man. He know that he's a leader. And one way a man lead is by providing for his wife.
God is sending him multiple signs.
See, let me tell y'all something. See, I'm a leader. I'm not a follower. I know we live in a time now where things have changed. And we live in a time now that everybody believing in the 50-50 thing. Because y'all let the world tell y'all how to run your marriage. I let the Bible tell me how to run my marriage. Because God's word is my final authority. Straight up. God's word is my final authority. Not men. Not society. I'm not going to let nobody dictate to me and tell me how to run my family. But the word of God.
One of the plagues, like in the Bible, some cicadas or some locusts or something like that. Oh, okay. He had trains and locusts and all kind of noises. I feel like God was sending him signs in that message. Okay, so y'all heard those 3 clips. So we had a couple. We had 3 couples. I don't know if you could tell, but the first one was heterosexual. Second one was, homosexual couple, and then the third one I think sounded like female-led or woman-led household. Then we had the alpha male, right? We had the self-proclaimed bad boy, alpha male. I do it all. I chop down trees, and the whole 9. And then we had the religious man. Okay, so I wanted to give you guys some things that I found on the internet, people's thoughts about this 50-50 thing. Should men pay at all? Should they not pay at all? What I found is there was more often than not a lot of people saying pretty much men should pay at all. Now you have some situations where people were in relationships and in their relationships they weren't saying this. But a lot of people who were single, for lack of better words, was talking about this 50-50 thing not being a real thing for men. So I played those clips to kind of set up our conversation, because when the topic came to me from Alana Boo, I thought to myself, okay, let's see what people are thinking. So what did y'all think about those clips y'all heard? Y'all have any overarching feelings that y'all want to just get off your chest before we get too deep about those clips?
Well, as far as me, the only one I can kind of get with for the most part was I guess the preacher, the one that had the trains, planes, and automobiles in his background.
He had all kinds of signs.
From Alabama. Yeah, he was the only one that made the alpha, that guy. He was just doing too much. I was like, Ray, you got to relax, man. It's like he was trying to overcompensate for something. I pay for
everybody, even my friends, and they friends, and all the friends. Yeah. I'm paying for everything.
Yeah. I think he's trying to overcompensate for what he said at the beginning about how he used to be broke. I think he used to be broke, and he probably got his feelings hurt a lot, not having no money. Because as a man, you ain't got no money, and you go out with people you just feel inadequate, because it's like, oh, okay, men, our natural inclination is to, dominate and take care of, conquest, all these types of things, and you go out in the financial, especially in America. It varies from different countries, but in America, the most powerful country in the world and the richest country in the world, it's so capitalistic based. So it's based on money, like the money that you have, and like what he said, his own admission, he was broke. He ain't had no money. He ain't had a key thing that's important in America. So he probably felt inadequate for so many years, and now he's finally got to a place where he's gainfully employed, got some money, and now he's just overcompensating. It's kind of like with me and shoes. Like as growing up, I didn't have many shoes. My mom couldn't get me shoes for school. But then I started working at shoe stores, and I got older, and I'm able to buy my own shoes. I just became a sneakerhead. I'm just sneakers. I want every new pair of sneakers, because it's like a subconscious overcompensation for when I was a kid. But his is just more stark, because it's like I'm an alpha male. Like what he said. If I go out with female friends, I'm paying for them too. And it's like, well, why? Like, bro, what's like y'all just friends. Like now it's like I get men supposed to take care, but it's that's based in a personal relationship. Friendship is a personal relationship, but it's friends transcend gender. Like if you my friend, it's not about your gender. Your gender come into play when we get intimate. That's when it comes into play, because then we talking about trying to make children and that whole deal. Like you just my friend. Like you just my like for example, like you and Alana, Thomas, y'all been friends since school. Like her being a woman don't factor into y'all being friends. You being a man don't factor into y'all being friends. Y'all just friends. That's just a line. That's who she is as a person, her mind, which is not a gender.
But you had something to say?
No, I was just agreeing with him. I was just saying,
Oh.
Yeah, that's all.
You doing like the church, you know, amen.
Amen.
brother. Hallelujah.
Go ahead, Pastor. Go ahead.
Preach it, but you better say it, Pastor Freddie B.
And what about those first three couples?
First, they sound like roommates. I mean, they just sound like
Them
roommates. What's
first
the
three
difference between
couples
them and a
was
roommate?
doing too much. They talking about, like we got a credit card and we got a joint credit card instead of us just saying, oh, when we go to the grocery store, okay, so split that in half. I'm going to pay this and I'm going to pay that. Like when it get down to y'all trying to split everything, like that sound like roommates. You know what I'm saying? Like
I ain't never had no roommate that I went to the grocery store with though. I ain't had no. I ain't never
even
had
do
no.
that in college.
I had a roommate that I had a credit card with. That's why to me, I was like, I don't sound like no roommates to me. That sound like just odd, extreme.
The first one definitely sounded like a roommate.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean the first couple definitely sound like a roommate. The ones that said they got a joint credit card, they just pussyfooting around the whole deal. Like you just get a bank account. Like
exactly.
your checks go into a bank account, and then from there, if you need some money personally, you just pull it out or whatever. And then somebody, because I don't understand how you don't marry somebody you don't trust. Like they don't sound like they trust they partners. Like how you get married, but you don't like, yo, we good. Like you just give me the money in the account. Like, okay, babe, either the wife or the husband is the accountant of the family, whoever is the most fiscally responsible that like, okay, fiscally, they be on it. They the accountant. So they handle all the numbers and stuff like that. Okay, the money here, they allocate money for the bills and like, okay, here, babe, here you go, here you spending money. I got me some spending money in my own little separate account, but you got a central account where all the money go into and you just pay from there. They got joint credit cards, so they don't have to do the awkward tap dance around who gonna pay, can we split it in half, because they don't want to look stupid. That's what it is. How you married and like, okay, put half on this car, put half on my car at the grocery store. Like, bitch, y'all got rings on, ain't y'all married? They just don't want to look stupid. So let's get a joint credit card. Then from there, I take out my account. I pay half the bill. You pay half the bill. It's stupid.
Yeah, I'm not doing all that shit.
Well, I mean, actually, I don't know if you caught this, Freddie, but what you just said is there's no difference in having a joint credit card than having a joint bank account. It would be no difference other than now the credit card just allows them both to just swipe whenever versus putting on two separate cards. They can just swipe it. And then, like you said, like you were saying earlier, they both pay it off. So that's why I was just bringing it up, like, for just listen to what they were saying. You're basing that off of like you said in your initial statement, trust. We put all the money in here, right? So that's why I'm just thinking out loud.
That's the point I'm getting at. Like they doing the joint bank account so they can pussyfoot around the situation.
Right,
they don't have to make that full commitment. That's what I'm saying. Like they got the credit card, so it's like, okay, we just do a joint credit card and that's this little piece, but it made them
feel better
for the grocery store.
Look, it made them feel better, Freddie B. It made them feel better.
Exactly.
Okay.
Right. They ain't trying to be for real. Like if you don't get married, like my philosophy, you don't get married. Like be for real. Like I can't imagine I'm about to marry somebody and they ain't all in. Like it's like I said, I look at marriage like a business. If I'm gonna do a business deal, we're gonna start a company with somebody. Like you got to be all in. You all in with this company. Like we trying to take this high. Like you, like nah. I mean, I'm gonna do this, but I also got this stuff over here. Like okay, if you got this stuff over here, then you're not the person I need to start this business with.
Right.
Ain't no love lost, but we just don't need to go in this together. Do your thing, and I'll find somebody else. No love lost. Do your thing, but hey.
So do you all believe that when you get into a relationship or a marriage that you should pool all your resources together in one place and then disseminate out from there what you're going to use the resources for? Or how do you think that approach should be made? I mean, should the man just be handling all the bills and paying everything? Because, I mean, that's the topic of our show. Should men be expected to pay it all? Or should women chip in? You know what I mean?
I don't think the expectation, me being more of a modern woman and not more traditional.
That's good.
I don't think the expectation should be that they should pay it all. Like growing up in my household, my mother was the breadwinner. So, how her and my dad, they had, just a joint account, all the money going in the account, we pay the bills from there. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't this your portion, this my portion. You know what I'm saying? These is our bills. This is our money. So, that's, just kind of how, my household is ran. We don't you know, like Freddie B said, pussyfoot around. Well, you when you went to the store, you picked that up, so you should pay for that. So, you know, like, we ain't got time for that shit. So I don't think the expectation should be that men pay for everything, at least not me. And nowadays, like, when I think about, if we talk about, like, let's just say the median income for a household. Mm-hmm. And basically, let's say, like, according to the 2019 census, the median income for a household for two working adults was $68,703. Mm-hmm. So if let's just say we're making equal amounts of money, which we know men tend to make more than women. But let's just say if for all intents and purposes, this is equal, that's $34,000 each, basically. So individually, on $34,000, you struggling. So we bring this together. We can make a little bit more happen, but we're not in a situation where on $34,000 he can really carry this whole household, including me too. Mm-hmm. So I just don't think it's realistic, especially with the way inflation is right now, especially with, you know, just the cost of stuff. Now, of course you have those people, you know, you have some men who, you know, are in the 6 and 7 figures and, you know, and all that, and can do that. If you can do that and y'all have that conversation and, you know what I'm saying, and she's, you know, okay with you, you know, paying for everything, or if that's her expectation of you because you have it like that, then that's on her. But, you know, me personally, when we talking about just the average person, the average household, you know, like, we not talking about the 1%ers and the 5%ers of the world, then I don't think the expectation should be that the man should pay for everything.
Mm-hmm. Dr. Buddy Lee, should men pay for it all?
The only question I have with that is if a man is taking care of everything, and a lot of people still look at it the old traditional way, how their parents or their grandparents used to handle things. And usually during that time, most mothers stayed home. The wife stayed home. She ran the house. She took care of everything. So when the husband, the father, came in, everything was taken care of, and then they were able to tend to each other. But in this day and time, you know, that's not a common thing anymore. So, and then people's wants have increased also. So, I mean, me personally, I'm like with Alana. I rather have us, if we're both working, I'd rather us pool all the money into one account, and then maybe we have 2 separate accounts just for our own personal blow money. Mm-hmm. So it's in no discretion, whatever. That's just what, you know, you use it for what you want. It keeps it separate from what needs to be taken care of in the household. But I believe putting it all together, it keeps an open line of communication on what's going on, and it helps each other to trust each other. But in this day and time, I don't see that happening because too many people have wants, and you know, and it goes both ways. You know, one feels that if I'm making more money, then I should be able to do what I feel. So,
Freddie B, should the man pay all the bills?
I mean, the thing is nowadays, man, with relationships, the focus gets to the financial component gets blown out of proportion over the intellectual, the emotional, and spiritual component. These are all like equal components to a whole relationship. So, but speaking specifically to this component, and which goes for all of them, is that, you know, I would say, you know, the man's supposed to protect and provide for his woman. So he's supposed to protect and provide for her intellectually, emotionally, spiritually, and financially. The thing is, you know, it's way harder to actually do those other 3 financially. Things can change in a month. You know, we all know that. We all can, you know, we all know somebody who could, you know, be making $20K a year, and then bang, they hit that big one. They finally land that big one, and now they making $220K a year, and vice versa. So, you know, but we put so much focus on it here in America because, like I said, this capitalistic society, everything is based on money, and then it's blown out of proportion. But you know how women they so quick to be like, I'm independent, and what I tell women when I had this conversation, like, okay, are you self-sufficient or are you independent? Those 2 different things. Like, self-sufficient is like, you a woman, you can handle, you can pay the bills and you can sustain yourself until you get that person, that man that's going to properly protect and provide for you. Then, okay, boom, then you can slide in your femininity and do what you need to do. Independent means you don't need a man. Because if you're something independent, that means it's standing alone by itself. And the thing is, we live in this society in America, and it's capitalistic, and it's based on money. So a lot of women feel like I can do this on my own, but just because they can pay a bill. Paying a bill means nothing. Paying a bill means you just have the money to give to somebody else. Anybody can do that. Any person. It's people who are mentally unable, disturbed, and so on and so forth that can pay a bill. That means nothing that you can pay a bill. And so we put a lot of focus on that and not focus on the actual like roles, like having clearly defined roles that people can operate in and do what they need to do. Because when you have a clearly defined role, then you know if you're sufficient or if you're exceeding or if you're deficient in the role. And then you know, like, okay, I need to do more. I need to take on more responsibility because in my particular role, I'm not cutting the snuff. I'm not, meeting that bar that I know I need to meet for my wife, that I particularly want to meet for my wife, or I particularly want to meet for my husband. So, okay, I need to do more. I need to, try to figure out where I can be of more value someplace that I haven't been to fulfill my duties. Because that's what marriage is about. A lot of people are like, I love, and they focus on love. Love is that initial foundation. And that's the very first part. But then you got a whole other part of duty that builds the house. And then it's like, okay, what are you doing? So to the whole point, should a man pay for everything? I think that, he should be taking care of at least the lion's share of, the bills or whatever. But, we live in a world, especially a world here in America, that's trending away from that. And so, with that being said, it's like, okay, if that's trending away and women are more increasingly making more than men, if you're that woman that's making all that money, then you as a woman, you have to be comfortable taking care of a man financially. And so then that's a whole nother conversation, like how many women are comfortable, like, oh, I make $300K, he make $50K, and all our money going to one account, and then we just operating regularly, but I know that this lifestyle, I fund it, and this man just lives in it. Like, because men are okay with that. Are women okay with that?
That's a good question. We have to ask a lot of people, are they okay with that? But it's interesting, she brought up,
damn, it just all
right.
All
women can.
Well, here's the thing. She said her mother took care of the lion's or brought in the lion's share of the meat. And so, that's something she brought up. So that's why I didn't just want to throw it in your lap just because you're the woman on the show, but because I have personal experience with this because at a certain point, in my dad's career, he blew his back out. Right.
And he ended up having to go on disability. And we all know disability is not much, you know what I'm saying? So, and you only get paid once a month. And so now on top of that, now my daddy was a hustler, you know what I'm saying? He,
Hustler, baby.
He painted, he worked on cars. He was
a legal hustler. And legal. Illegal
for the most part.
Illegal, not illegal. But, okay, never mind.
For the big
I'm gonna keep it real with y'all. For the most part, he was legal. But I'm saying, he had all his little side hustles or whatever, because as a man, he felt it was his, his duty to provide. Now, was he gonna get caught up in I'm gonna hustle to the point where I make more money than her? You know what I'm saying? Like, there was not there wasn't an ego involved with that. It's just that this is my base income, and I'm going to supplement that as much as I possibly can. You know what I'm saying? To take as much of the burden off of her as possible.
Right.
So, but just in terms of like if that was me in that situation, I'm making $300K, my husband making $50. And if as long as is he does not let the ego bother him, it does not bother me. When dealing with the pandemic situation, we had talked about this in a previous episode where our roles in my household shifted. Where I became the breadwinner because everything that my husband does is entertainment based. All his side streams of income, everything like that. So all that came to a halt during the pandemic. You know what I'm saying? The Timberwolves wasn't playing, the weddings were canceled, just all this type of stuff. And so the income came down to mine in the household. And like I said before, like, I felt that pressure, that I'm sure that men feel when everything is kind of riding on them, which is why my mindset is not that I have the expectation that a man just fully support me and take care of me, because what the hell was I doing before you came along? You know what I'm saying? Like if I'm self-sufficient, not independent, because I don't ride the independent train as Freddie B has clearly defined. So, but if I'm self-sufficient, then for me just to have the expectation of you coming in like a white knight, just taking over all my cares and all my, if you can do that, great. But is it realistic for me, to be expecting it of you? I don't think so.
Mm-hmm. Can you answer this question? And I guess I open this floor up to anybody but it's really a question for men who have had and lost. And what happens when the man loses his job and the woman just doesn't have it?
Exactly. And that's why I will always work.
What happens? I mean, I have a couple of friends, and I've talked about them in shows in my past where the dynamic was they went into a situation with a woman who was independent. She had everything. She had a house, her car, everything. And similar to what Freddie B said, the powers of sort of switched because the man started making more money. And to see the household change in real time, where the woman then said, okay, well, I'm going to back up and I'm going to allow him to do what he does. I'm going to let him make the money and he's going to bring it in, and to take that submissive, more submissive than even what she was before role. It was just very eye-opening because these, I know one of my friends was I was just like, ain't no way. Like this chick she got her shit together. You know what I mean? Like, ain't no way she about to essentially like bow down, but submit to him. But she did when she made the money, and she did when she wasn't making the money. And I thought that was interesting. And so I asked the question, what happens though when you are in that traditional situation where the man is making it all and that woman has not been making money? She's not been working. She's at home, hopefully doing her end of the traditional bargain, right? But then he loses his job. What do we do then?
I mean, I think the same thing you do if you by yourself. Just think about any single man. You like me. I'm by myself. I lose my job. What I got to do? I by myself. I still got stuff to pay, all that type of stuff. Same thing, and even vice versa. What if, he loses his job? Vice versa. If she taking care of the house. What if, she get pregnant? Women get pregnant. They last trimester. They can't just be moving around and still doing everything, or she get hurt or something. She can't just move around the house, clean this, cook this, do this with the kids. What happened? He got to go. Well, the dude, he working. He got to boss up. He got to carry some extra load. That's the whole thing of partnership. Yeah, it's just like in sports.
It's a partnership.
It's like in sports, like the Minnesota Timberwolves. You know what I mean? You got Karl Anthony Towns. You got D'Angelo Russell. You got all these other players. Towns, Cat, he might got an off game. He only scored 12 points. That's when D'Angelo Russell got to step up. Other people got to step up. You got to fill in the blanks. You just don't quit. Like, all right, well, she pregnant her last trimester. She got, deep vein thrombosis and because of the baby, and she, she going through some physical stuff, which, we all like. Pregnancy is a rough time for a woman. You know what I mean? So, or the first trimester, she got, morning sickness. She having morning sickness, and she, and some women, I heard they have it bad. Like they can't keep nothing down. They can't eat. You can't eat. You weak. So, it's kind of unrealistic to be like, okay, you still got to keep going. Hopefully, you got a wife that, back and forth, y'all love each other, and she gonna still try to do something, but she ain't gonna be 100% basically. So that she might be knocked down to 60%. She might be able to fight up to 60% at least, but that's 40% that now you got to work and you got to come home and cut grass and you got to get the kids ready for school tomorrow and you got to cook. And she just in the bed or in the bathroom throwing up. You know what I mean? It's just, you got extenuating circumstances, and that's just part of the deal. But, overall, macro speaking, you got, like I said, you got roles. And as you go on, some people can do more this time, and then some other times they can't do more. They can't even do their role. Mm-hmm. Other person got to step up. But if you with somebody that's like, okay, I'm I'm down for the long haul. I love you, and so since I love you, I'm willing to do the work. They say all that, then it's like, okay, like what Alana said, like, you know, her husband is heavily based in entertainment. Pandemic hit, snitched it all away. Okay, he down. You know, he cat, and he only scored 12 points in this game. Normally I only score 15 points. I average 15, 16 points. That's all that's expected of me. But this game, I got to drop 30. Boom, she go out there to try to drop 30.
But I think you missed the question because, see, she had employment. She was gainfully employed when that happened for him. So that balance is already there. What I'm saying is,
but if I wasn't,
right? If she was
and
she was a self-proclaimed modern woman, what if she was a traditional woman? And just to frame it, because sometimes it helps to frame it. Think about The Pursuit of Happiness, right? Have y'all seen that movie?
No, I've never seen it.
Willard
Smith?
Smith?
Will Smith is the main character, but it's about he plays. This is based on the life of Christopher Paul Gardner.
Yeah.
Right. So this is a real man he's playing the story of, who literally he makes a decision, an investment decision that just totally crumbles and takes out their whole financial base. You know? And then that's what that whole film was based on. So go ahead, Alana. I'm sorry. I just wanted to frame it so
I was just gonna say,
understands.
so if the tables were like a little bit different, and you know, my husband, you know, he's the breadwinner, I'm a stay-at-home wife, you know, I'm a homemaker. He comes in, babe, you know, everything has stopped. You know what I'm saying? Then I'm going to get in my bag. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, well, I'll tell you what we're going to do. She going to still move because I ain't finna be sitting around homeless. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm going to go out, I'm going to give me a job, I'm going to do whatever it is I got to do. And in the meantime, he is, you know, like looking for a different, you know, stream of income until everything else comes back. So it's still a partnership. I'm going to pick up whatever slack that I can. And being, well, if I was the homemaker, period, and I'm running the finances, I'm stashing for a rainy day also.
Okay, there we go. There we go.
You hit on the point that I was going to make.
You tightening your belt up.
Yeah,
you tighten your belt up. It's like before we was eating lasagna. She might have been cooking these grandiose meals 3 times a week or something. Now it's like, babe, we eating ramen.
Top ramen,
we got ramen noodle it up, you know. Right, you know, she just get like Lana said, she get in the bag. And get in the bag, she started doing tricks and flips with the money. Like she dressing the top ramen up with some canned vegetables and put a little cheese whiz on it. Like this is what we gotta do. You know what I mean? She go out and get a job at McDonald's, and he go get like a little job, and then at night he get off work and then he go to this other job at Amazon warehouse, and then while he's still trying to put it together, it's like you grinding it out. You get
that's
gutter
what you gotta do. You know what I'm saying?
And hopefully you got a woman that's like, I'm gonna get gutter with you, and then, you know, bring us back. You know, when you bring us back, then we can look back on these times and laugh. Like, remember we was eating top ramen? Woo, nigga, hopefully you ain't got to go back to that. We learned our lesson.
Right.
All right, babe, you doing our stocks and we diversifying our portfolio.
Right.
It's interesting because one of the things they teach in wife school, if you ever have heard of such a thing, they talk to women not only about how to be homemakers, how to cook, clean, and keep the house, but they also talked about multiplication. And what that whole section of wife school is about is the money that comes through the door. Can you multiply it? Are you a multiplier of resources? Exactly. So if he's bringing in money, if this is a wealthy man that you're with, because most of these women who go to wife school, they usually are getting prepared to marry, you know, wealthy men. A wealthy man, right? And I was listening to Dr. Boyce Watkins, and he had a lady on, Rona, I think was her name. She was a teacher of one of these wife schools, and she's a black lady, and she said that her classes in California are 98% white, and she's a black woman teaching wife school, and most of those white women want to know how to get with white men and black men. Now, just think about that. So they learn how to become wives. They want to get white men and black men. And when they're teaching them how to multiply, they're teaching them businesses, you know, little business things that they could do. It's similar to what you said, Alana, about your dad having hustles. Mm-hmm. It's like the female version of that, right? The female hustles.
Yeah.
And I thought that was very interesting that she said that's one of the integral parts of being with people royalty is understanding how to stay royal, how to stay wealthy, you know, how to keep it, even in the down times, you know. And it's good that you said what you said, Alana Boo, about having a little stash on the side. Like you said, you stash yours up, you know.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I mean, because, like, even though we, you know, do the joint, you know, account thing and everything like that, you know, we still save money, you know what I'm saying, and put it to the side. Like I have a separate savings account. He has a separate savings account. You know what I'm saying? Like, and so you still gotta, because you don't, like you said, all this shit can be ripped from under you in a blink of an eye. You know what I'm saying? So I don't never really like 100% feel just that damn comfortable. You know what I'm saying? Like, cause we seen it. Like the whole world went through a damn pandemic. Like overnight.
Well, hell, I mean, we millennials. We done seen 2 depressions.
We done seen 2 depressions, a damn pandemic. We done seen some things. You know what I'm saying? So like, I'm not 100% comfortable. In that. So I'm always trying to think ahead of, well, what if this, and and what if that. So what I'm saying, you gotta just always be thinking, like you just can't, like you can't just panic, freeze up, and just don't do shit.
But that has been, and it's funny because the argument could be made that a lot of men do that. If you look at the homeless population, it's a majority men. If you look at it, men will, and so the reason I brought up Pursuit of Happiness is because there are times when men's solution to I lost my job is fuck it. I'm on the street.
but there's something. Hold on,
I won't say that.
There's something to that because you just said about there's men, but the difference is between men and women. Women can get support. Women can get support from the government to help them sustain and provide for them, where a man can't go get that same support. A man can't. You won't find too many men on welfare or receiving food stamps or any type of government assistance in that sense, unless they were in the military or have a disability. But outside of that, you don't hear of too many men getting assistance. But a woman, she can get it in a minute.
Well, and let me take it a step further too, Dr. Buddy Lee. When I say fuck it, I'm not just saying they gave up. Literally, and the reason I brought that movie up is very telling, because I don't know if you've seen it, but it was very interesting. He chose to sleep in a bathroom.
I've seen it. Yeah, I remember that.
There are shelters.
Yeah, there are.
Have you been to a shelter?
Listen, what I'm trying to tell you, women will sleep in a shelter all day, but there are plenty of men.
But women's shelters are totally different than men's shelters.
And check this out. Check this out. It's interesting because you will have these men, and I'm not talking all, because we do have cases. Like, don't get me wrong, there's mental issues. We have people who were just abused or whatever, like and got kicked out their home, whatever. Or disability issues, where like the veterans, you see a lot of veterans on the street who have these disabilities where they just can't do certain things. But the reason I thought about that movie is because he's an able-bodied man, right? This is able-bodied, he can get to work, and then he wants to work, not he don't want to work. He actually he had his kid with him. He wants to work. He wants to get back on his feet. But it's like it's certain prideful things that will happen. They'll be like, well, I can't do that. I can't do this. I can't, And I thought about that. I said, man, I wonder how many men are out there that are like that. They're struggling. They're trying to get back on their feet, but like they won't go to the shelter. It's too nasty in there. This man slept in a bathroom with rats coming by. That was crazy.
So also the other pieces that we mentioned, like a male shelter, it ain't a lot of times it ain't because it's nasty. That's a small part of it. It's that, nigga, you will get robbed, beat, like you will get handled, like in a like it's not safe. It's not safe. You go in there, you take your stuff, you wake up, all your stuff gone, and then you just had one night of sleep, and now you ain't got nothing on top of that. So, and then also, you don't see many homeless women, because I was just, like, for example, I was just in Cartagena, Colombia, and being there, you can really see the stark difference. Like, you got, there's a lot of poor people. Colombia, you don't have a middle class. You rich or you poor. But the difference is women down there, they can either have a man take care of them, or they can sell their body and make a lot of money. Men you can't sell your body. So the men down there, they selling like little trinkets and little stuff, and they just struggling, or they just got a bed. That's it. So a lot of the poor men down there, they just poor and they just struggling. And a lot of the poor women, they able to at least sell their body. They going through a lot with it, but they able to sell their body and actually live a comfortable, somewhat comfortable life. So you got that aspect to it. Like, who gonna take care of a destitute man? Who gonna take care of a destitute woman? You got more options.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so now what I want to ask you guys on this subject then is, does paying more of the bills affect the power dynamic in a relationship?
It don't in mine.
It depends on the communication between
But
the
yeah,
two people.
it depends on the people that you're dealing with.
Because if somebody's selfish, if one person is selfish and the other one is a giving person, I mean, yes, it will balance out, but somebody's gonna feel like they're being taken advantage of.
Wait a minute,
Yeah.
hold on, wait a minute. So it'll balance out if somebody's selfish and the other one's giving.
Well, I mean, it's going to balance out because, the yin and yang on that, but because you can't have two selfish people. Because
Okay.
I've seen that before. I've seen two selfish people. Basically, you thought they were poor, but the only reason they were able to survive was because of the money that they made. They made great money, and they were married. I mean, they're married, but since they weren't working together in unison and trying, they were all about self. They were struggling. But as time passed, when they started working together, things got better. So I say, it's all in the communication that they have with each other. And as long as they're willing to work together to make it happen, I believe it can, it doesn't matter who's making the money. Both will be able to survive.
If men pay for the home, should the woman be required to contribute financially at all?
It depends on that agreement again.
Yeah, that is. I'm gonna contribute just because that's just how I was born and raised. Like, period. Like I'm just a contributor. I don't know how to not give. I'm a giver. So but I know some women who have the mindset of, I'm not contributing shit. Other than, maybe sex, I'll cook. And I might clean. You know what I'm saying? And but financially, they don't want to provide nothing. Like, they just want to be taken care of or whatever like that. That's personally not me, but it's going to depend on the type of people that you are encountering. Because everybody's a little different.
Right. We talked about Ebony K. Williams a few episodes back, and we loosely talked about her requirements of marriage. I'm not sure if y'all remember, but basically, she don't want to pay a house note. But then she gave this pipe dream of a woman she was going to be in return. So what I want to ask you guys is, if a man is expected to be a traditional man, right? He basically takes care, he provides and pays for all the bills or whatever. What does that mean? What does that look like in return from the woman? What is she bringing to the table? Because it has been argued that cook clean is not what men are looking for. So what is that traditional woman that men are looking for if they can pay for everything? If you pay for everything, Freddie B, what does that woman need to be for you?
I mean, I think you got some men out here that are simpish, and so they like to trumpet being a feminist themselves to hide behind the lack of accountability as a man, to stand up and because the thing is, as a man, you gotta. The onus falls on you with the family. If the family gonna live or die, it falls on you, and that's a lot to deal with. And some men don't want that responsibility. And so instead of just saying, obviously, instead of saying oh yeah, I don't want that type of responsibility, they try to go on the other side and trumpet female empowerment, quote unquote, feminism. Women need to this, that, and the third, so that she can pay for stuff. She can be responsible for a lot of stuff that he's supposed to be responsible for. So me. I mean, like I said, I think about roles. Once again, roles. When you have clearly defined roles, then you know what you need to be doing. Ain't no confusion. Right. When you don't have roles, there's confusion, advice and confusion. It was we just 50-50 and we just living life and we just there for each other. What does that mean? And the thing is, people don't want roles because they don't want to be held accountable for failing. Because if they fail at something or they drop the ball at something, they don't want to feel bad and dang, I messed up. And the thing is that when you have a marriage, it's really between y'all two. Like I get married, my wife, we're gonna have clearly defined roles. But if she fall up short, that's fine. That's fine. If I fall short, because I know I give grace, because I know I'm gonna need grace. And the thing is, I just said that to somebody earlier today. People want grace but don't want to give it. They don't want to give grace. You mess up, they quick to crucify you and nail you to the cross. But then vice versa, when they need grace, they want grace, but then they see they're not going to get it, so they try to maneuver and slither and that ain't me. Well, no, that ain't what I said. No, I ain't asked you to do that. No, I mean, but that ain't. And it's look, either you going to do it or you're not. Either this your role or you not. And so now we got into this thing where nothing is defined no more. It's just be whatever you want to be. And so if you can be whatever you want to be and you can define your own rules, that means you're never wrong. Because people can't handle being wrong and held accountable. Accountability is out the window.
It looks like you have so many feelings, Fred, that you didn't even answer my question. No idea where he was going.
I did. You said if I pay all the bills, that what's she gonna be?
Are you eating while we try to record?
I took a bite of a piece of chicken. Hey, I'm fat, man. I'm fat. What can I say? Okay, so your question was if I pay all the bills, what's she supposed to do?
Well, I'm asking, what does that look like in return? What is the man expected from the wife that he's paying all the household bills for?
I mean, I would say to cook and clean, take care of the household, like to make the house a home. Like, because if I'm paying for everything, I'm providing a house. Now you need to provide the home.
So, what she looks like, her fertility, submissiveness, her you used to say, get her on your program. None of that matters.
No, that's all part of making it a home.
Oh,
like her fertility, creating like because a home is children. You got children. You got the pitter patter of little feet there. You know all that stuff. And because you think about what a home is, like you going to somebody's home. Going to somebody's home ain't just one person there, just two people there, or they just live together. Because you got two adults, we just chilling. We don't need much. When you got children, now you need more stuff, and that's what makes it a home. So you got that woman she's like on a movie set, which, you know, I say this like Thomas, you've been on movie sets. I've been on movie sets. I don't know, Lana and Buddy, if y'all been on movie sets, but you on a movie set, you got the director, you got the first AD. Mm-hmm. Who's the person you hear yelling out all the directives and this, that, and the third? Who's that person that you hear yelling out all that out?
The AD.
Right, the first AD. You don't hear the director talking and, hey, everybody get in there, aside from Spike Lee. He's a special case. Spike Lee is very different. But generally speaking, you hear the first AD telling everybody where they need to go, cameras rolling. They shouting at all the directors. The director, you don't ever hear. Director just tells silently the first AD, They got their communication, but you hear the first AD. And that's a household. Like a structured household. Mom is taking care of everything. Dad is there. You know, he makes sure behind the scenes everything working, everything is connected. But mom is taking care of everything. And then when dad got to step in, now you know it's a problem. If at any point in time, mom could decide, okay, I'm done. I don't want to deal with this, and she should be able to do that, and then drop it off on dad, and then dad step in like, okay, if the kid's acting up, all right, I'm gonna tell your daddy. Then daddy got to step in. Now you know there's a serious problem, and so you have those clearly defined roles. Then that's when things can operate. But yeah, if I'm taking care of the house, you take care of the home.
You paying all the bills. Who is responsible for
Correct.
the family portfolio then?
It should be both.
Now
of them.
that I would say who between two people, you know who's more fiscally responsible, who has the knowledge.
True.
Yep.
You know, because if you got, say for instance, me and Jane, we get together and I'm the super fiscally responsible person. I know about stocks, bonds, 401ks, Roth IRAs, all these types of cryptocurrency.
529 plan, business, mutual funds,
right.
REITs.
Right. I know about all that. And then Jane don't really know about all that. From the background she came from, she's still learning. It's not fiscally responsible. That's not smart to then dump the accounting off on her. It wouldn't make any sense because she don't know. Like, I know. So maybe eventually we can do that. She gets with me, like, maybe eventually she's like, okay, babe, I see that you do a lot. And so eventually I want to take that burden off you. So while you doing it, I'm going to make sure I'm there. I'm present to learn all these things, doing my own work on my own time to build myself up. But obviously starting out, I'm going to handle that. I'm going to handle the accounting.
Yep.
Do we think the 50-50 household has come about because of the rise of feminism?
Si, senor.
I'm gonna now. I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna say on this part. You know, since I'm, I guess I'm the only one who's been divorced. You know,
get your hurt off, Buddy Lee.
No, there's no hurt. No, there's no hurt. But I'm just gonna tell you from. I mean, mine wasn't as bad as some people's, but there are some men who've been taking care of the household, take care of all this stuff for the house. Then there's a divorce. Now the man does not have the house anymore that he's still paying for. He does not have a car that he's still paying for. He's got to pay child support, and depending on how much money he made, now he's got to pay alimony. Well,
don't forget that alimony check.
So now he's paying all that, and he's got to start completely over. So he feels like he's gotten robbed in the situation, and so Some guys are like, no, if we're gonna go into this, we're gonna we're gonna split this so we both feel it. Because if I'm gonna lose everything, at least I'm only gonna lose half, not 100%, and still have to still take care of you and everything else too. So some of that comes from that there. And then I have met, just like, traveling outside the country and even within the country, I've talked to various people from different countries, and it's like, even I'm shocked to even hear so many women now are saying, don't rely on a man. We're going to split these bills because I don't want him to feel like he has ownership over me. Mm-hmm. And so they'll bring it up saying, no, I mean, you can take care of the house, but I'm taking care of the lights and the water and the gas and stuff like that. But, you're not going to have 100% ownership over me.
It also helps with the divorce proceedings, too, when she's paid stuff, because that allows them to see, she contributed in this fight, this definite, what do they call it? Finite way that we can, this trackable. Right. So now, now she definitely, that alimony gets bigger. But you said something, but Dr. Buddy Lee, and I wanted to bring up the story. This is a personal story to me, but I'm saying this to make a bigger point. I guess she would be my she's not technically my auntie, but I'm gonna call her my auntie for the sake of ease. My auntie was married to a man who took care of the household, made the money. She went to her job and she made her own money, which she pretty much kept, for herself. And they had a kid together. And he ended up passing early. And when I say early, he was in his 50s. So, I mean, he wasn't relatively young, but he was not relatively old, if that makes any sense. Mm-hmm. So, and we all know that, we should be saving 401ks and doing all this other stuff, getting ready for retirement around 60. So, we should be getting ready to retire. When his financial portfolio was opened up, out of all the years of working, he had been paying that house note, paying it. And they found that he only had $8,000 in a Roth IRA left. He did have some insurance that's going to take care of the little girl, and they're going to use that for her college fund. But after that, there was nothing else left because he gave everything. He literally gave all of himself. She even mentioned it to me when we talked about it. So here is the question I kind of developed from that story after talking to her. What type of man pays for it all and has nothing left for himself?
A lot.
The man is a lot?
No, you said what kind of man?
What type?
Oh, what type? I thought you said what? Okay, but
I brought that up because Alana eloquently spoke earlier that she was a modern woman. And I thought to myself, this, in this case, was a modern woman who was married to a traditional man. Mm-hmm. So what type of man pays for it all and has nothing left for himself? Does this make sense today? To still be traditional men and be married to these women who have been raised by the feminist era, who are modern women, essentially. Any thoughts?
I mean, I would say, it's a standard that has to be set. I know me personally, I have a personal standard, you know what I mean? And you got so many, cause men are about sex. Like we are, our focus is sex primarily. And then when we find that one, like, oh, okay, this is somebody I can build with, then it transitions into a relationship. But with that being said, a lot of men let that dictate the overall picture for them. And so then they'll simp and they'll compromise their standards and what they know that should be the case to, not bump heads with women and not argue and all of the type of stuff. And then they'll lessen themselves. Like me personally, like if I'm a date a woman, like I know what I expect, and that's what I expect. And then if a young lady does not fit that profile, that's fine. There's no love lost. I'm not mad at her or anything. She just doesn't fit that profile. But I'm not going to, change that vision of those roles because it's order. I'm about order. Like when you have order, then you tend to you tend to miss all that confusion, like if a divorce happened, or even having a divorce. But even if a divorce happens, then the separation of assets, so on and so forth, when you have order. And that's the thing, a lot of order is missed because you got a lot of men who aren't setting order. Like, yo, this is what I expect. This is the plan. Having a plan, having a future, short-term, long-term plan for the relationship, for her, for yourself, for your family. And a lot of men are scared to do that because they like, okay, I don't feel like arguing, da-da-da-da. And it's like, no, there's no argument. It's just, this is what it is. You can tell me what you think, and then from there, I listen to what you say, and okay, taking it, okay, that's good. Okay, let's implement this, let's implement that, and let's implement this, and then we move forward. But you got a lot of men who aren't doing that, and so then now you got this dichotomy, this difference between like men still kind of wanting to be traditional, but you got this the rise of the modern woman, and accountability isn't there. And really it's like you got people trying to cherry pick the best points of each thing. Like men trying to cherry pick the best points of being traditional, and women trying to cherry pick the best situations of being modern. And now it's like oil and water, men and women trying to mix.
What do you call a woman who needs a man to make most of her basic decisions for her, but wants all the benefits of being an independent woman?
Delusional.
A spoiled child.
Yes.
Straight up delusional. And that's my, you know, like my point, like what irritates me about when it comes to this conversation with, you know, when I see, like when you said you were doing research, you know what I'm saying, like online, Thomas, and you noticed that a lot of women were saying that the man should pay for everything, but if you notice they were single.
Right.
So I think they have, there's a misconception that you can, it's almost like they want to be, you want the perks of the traditional lifestyle of being taken care of and all this kind of stuff. But then you have the nerve to have the attitude of the whole independent woman, and that don't mix. Mm-hmm. Because if you think about how the traditional relationship used to be, you know, it wasn't, you know, the woman didn't have, you know, all this newfound attitude and all this newfound empowerment and all this, you know, and all that stuff that women nowadays have. You know, because they're making their own money, because they can be self-sufficient and all that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. So, like back in the day, like my granddad, you know, took care of my grandmother financially, mm-hmm. but he didn't want no lip. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right. I got it. I don't want no lip from you now.
He wanted.
That sounds like some old folk stuff too, right there.
Exactly. He don't
listen,
want
I'll put that food in the refrigerator, but I don't want no lip.
Right. I don't want no lip.
It's on my dick. And that didn't have lips.
You know, that's his words. You know, that it came with that attitude of I'm the man, I'm the head of the household. I'm gonna move how I want to move.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And a modern woman is not really gonna just lay down and take. You gonna move how you want to move because you paying the bills. You know what I'm saying? So it's like there's a contradiction between what they want. It's like like you said, they want to cherry pick, you know, well, yeah, I want to be financially taken care of from the traditional side, but then I also want to be able to, you know, voice my opinion and have a say so in the household and how things should be ran. And it's like those don't always mix. Mm-hmm. Not saying it's impossible, but you know what I'm saying? It's just that to be realistic, for 9 times out of 10, that a lot of those ain't gonna mix.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy because me and Pops had a conversation with
your pop?
Well, no.
Oh, okay.
Fred's Pops.
Well, no, because I call my pop. That's why when you said
me
and Pops, I'm trying to figure out who Pops you're talking to.
No, when we were down in Panama and we were with Fred's Pops, you know, I was sitting there with him and we had a conversation. I don't know the girl's name, but everybody called her First Class. So you
shout out to First Class if you hear it. Oh yeah, shout out.
So she was talking about, you know, she would prefer to have a man that makes good money and take care of everything. And I was like, do you understand what comes with that? I mean, you're gonna lose a lot of what you want to have, independence.
Yep.
I'm not saying that all men are gonna be like that, but majority, you're gonna lose that independence that you have in order to live that lifestyle and have what you want that way. Are you willing to do that? And what shocked me was she said, you know, I've learned and I understand what I have to do. I was like, wow, okay. Because, that's where we're running into a problem with a lot of this now. It's kind of like, it's one of these situations like this. A woman wants a man to show chivalry, but then she'll snap at a man saying, I can open my own door. Well, which one do you want? I mean, you can't have it both ways. Either you want somebody to take care of you and do all these other things, but when he comes home, he shouldn't have to sit up here and look for food, or the house is nasty and you haven't been at work, or you don't work, you don't do anything, but the house is nasty, or just whatever it is, where you can't have it both ways. I mean,
right.
Either
Well, I mean, I was gonna add to Buddy Lee, like you were saying about first class. I think the thing, women, to your point, you have that man that's taking care of everything. It's not necessarily like, oh, you can't be independent. It's more so of like, you have duties. Like, understand, like, your duties encompass a certain thing. And to Alana said earlier about women who like, oh, I'm just, I'm gonna provide sex and a little bit of, like, sex ain't no provision.
No.
Like, if you're providing sex, you're literally providing something that any other woman can provide.
Yep.
So don't be surprised if that's what you're providing and that's what you're leading with. That's the same thing men who lead with money. Men who can't provide, like I said, going back to intellectually, emotionally, spiritual guidance and protecting, providing in those realms. There's some men who can't do that. All they have is financial, and they lead with their money. They show cars. They put up in cars, nice clothes, and buying this and throwing money around. If that's what you leading with as a man, that's all you got, and that's all you can provide for a woman. Just understand that there are other men who can provide all those things just as easily, because that's an easy proposition to provide. And so,
Well, Freddie B, I got to push back on that.
Can't, I mean, what I was going to say is that then people will call those women gold diggers. Like, they're not gold diggers because that's what you led with. You led with your pocketbook. You led with your money. So she's not a gold digger. That's what you provided. And so then you gave it to her, so she took it. Vice versa, women who like, oh, I'm going to provide sex. And then men who like get the sex from her, and then, okay, then they got other girlfriends on the side and they got sex from me. You get mad. Like, you can't even fix your mouth to get mad and call him a hoe or whatever. Like, all you providing is sex. That ain't nothing. Mm-hmm. Like, you can go to, like I said, I was just in Cartagena. Yeah, you can go to Cartagena, Colombia, bad chicks, and purchase them for $80. Like, $80. That is a dinner. That's me taking you out on a date. But with them, $80, and then I can tell her, like, all right, you can leave. I can dictate my time and everything.
Well, you could just dictate her.
Yeah, I can dictate her. Like, she gonna do whatever I want her to do. She gonna do literally whatever I want her to do for $80, and she fine. Well, you just leading with sex, and then with you, I can't even do anything under the sun that I want to do, and I can't even tell you to get out when I want you to get out.
And the crazy thing is, what you paying for is for her to leave. You're not paying for the sex. You paying for her to go away when you get done.
Exactly.
Well, listen, the where I was going to push back on in Freddie B's statement was when he was talking about men that lead with their money, because there are not a lot of men who fit the bill of what women would say have that level of money they're looking for. But in general, I actually agree with the statement, because any man can lead with his money. Like, he could be like Alana said, what she said, 34,000 there. He could be at 34,000 there and lead with his money and just put his money out there like that. So I agree with you from that standpoint. On average, though, and when we talking about first class, right? When we talking about first class, shout out to her again. Those women are looking for a man of a certain status. And there is a video clip out there that, if you're listening to this, I really don't like to bring it up a lot, but I will bring this clip up by Kevin Samuels called "Stop Telling Women There's No Hope." And it's an interesting title because it's definitely clickbaity, because it's not even about this. But because he really is about to tell a woman there's no hope. And what he does in this clip, which is I think very brilliant, is instead of giving her the normal rhetoric that he would give women about why things aren't going to work, why they can't have the man at this level, he went numerically and broke it down on how many black women that are eligible and that are eligible for marriage versus how many black men that are of this ilk or this status that these women are looking for. And essentially, after breaking it down, how many people in America are black, how many of those people are men, how many people of those are women, and he got it all the way down. it was 181,000 men who were eligible for these 7.5 million black women. Of those 181,000, he said, we got to talk about who ain't married first. So so all the ones that's married, can't include them. Then we got to talk about who ain't gay. So you got to take them out because they're not trying to get with a woman. And then you got to talk about from the last straight non-married men that are left, the ones who actually want to marry. The 181,000, when he did the number, was 2.4% of that 7.5 million, which means that's how much hope you got. But then when you start adding these other factors, your hope gets even less. And I thought it was interesting because when we started talking about this subject about men paying for everything, one of the things I thought about is the modern black woman is looking for the six-figure man, right? That's what we hear a lot on the streets, basically. You know, you hear these women, they want a man making more than them. When you add into the fact that a lot of these women have college education, right? Nothing wrong with your college education. You know, master's degrees, bachelor's degrees, and they can take up jobs where they may be starting out in the 50s, 60s. It's less likely for them to be with a man that's making less than them. He spoke on how, you know, the attitudes change. So I love that we brought that up earlier in the show about, you know, if you can be with that woman who's making more than you, but can the woman be with the man that's making less than her? That's the, you know, and I'm just talking about off the rip. This is, you know, this ain't y'all was together and he lost his job. We talking about from the rip. Mm-hmm. You know, the reason why I love that he brought up First Class, because they talking about from the rip. They're not talking about they been together. She got to get with him first. She got to get with that. And then you got to understand, back to Freddie B's point, and the reason why I want to push back on it, but like I said before, he said the part where he just said men in general. But if you talk about men that are high earners, you know what I'm saying, flexing their wallet, they really have way more options than the women do to them. Absolutely. They have way more options. They have no incentive to marry other than they want to be married. And even then, they still got options. So sex cannot be the only thing you put on the table, ladies. Because sex can come from another one of these 7.4 million, 7.5 million women out there. You know, this black. And he said, and he said all these women are competing for these same men. But check this out. They forget one thing. That's just the black women. You got women of other races also competing for these men. The reason why I brought up wife school. How the white women, they looking for white and black. They ain't say just white. They looking for white and black.
Let me throw this one there too. You got also women in other countries.
I was just about to say that. I was like, then when you start traveling, it's a whole nother animal.
You know, yeah, I mean, because the thing is, you know, if you a black man, you travel. Like I was just in Panama Dolo Solo. I'm just walking around. Women is just talk. Like I can literally just talk to a woman. Like, hey, how you doing? And it's on everywhere I travel. South Africa, Panama, Croatia. Like it's nothing for me to spark up a conversation and get the interest of an attractive, domesticated woman. Mm-hmm. Every single trip I've taken, it is nothing. Women who want to be housewives, who want to get on the program, who want to be domesticated, who want to look after the bottom line. Because if there's anything that nobody remembers, anything I said this whole episode is that you look at when I was talking about order, mm-hmm. Men are responsible for the top line, women are responsible for the bottom line. Mm-hmm. Like, and when you get in a relationship, the man should be focused on trying to take us higher, 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 take the family higher, higher, higher. The women should be focused on make sure that if a drop happens, the drop don't go too far. Like kind of what Alana was saying. Like, you know, like she at the home, she see the money. Like, okay, boom, where can we put this money? What discussions can I have with babe to where we can invest this money to grow this money? What hustles can I be putting together? In our downtime to make sure our money tight is continue to grow and our money is working for us. Like he bringing in the money, just like he bring the house, I make it a home. He bring the money, I make it wealth. Like he bringing the riches, I make it wealthy. You know what I mean? So that's the concept. But yeah, to what's your point? That's 7.5 million in America, right? Nigga, that's not even counting
that's
the
the
women in
black
Panama
women. We ain't talking white. We ain't talking Hispanic. We just talking
black.
Panamanian,
Colombian.
We ain't talking out the country,
Peruvian,
right?
Argentinian, South African, Nigerian, Ghanaian.
And he broke it down and did the math. He did the math, and it was just like just me watching it. And I was just like, I ain't never thought of it like that. He just did the math live on air for her. Like, let me get my calculator. Okay, let's.
Man, the whole world wants a black man. The whole world values a black man, except for maybe a few in America. But you leave out the country, nigga, we celebrities.
Man, you ain't lying.
What was you gonna say, Dr. Butler? You had something that you wanted to add to that?
Oh, I was just going to add on to it too, and what I've noticed in some of the people I've met from other countries, they were raised. Not all, but I mean, if you compare it to America, majority of them, quite a few of them, are raised to get married and have a family, and I mean, they're taught that structure. Because it was even shocking to me, somebody I was with that. You know, even if we were at odds, she was still gonna make me a plate. I was like, and I was, you know, I'm so Americanized. I'm like, I'm go fix my own plate because she mad at me. But no, and then I saw her mom and dad do the same thing. I was like, whoa, her mom and dad her mom was mad at her dad, but the mom went and made that plate for dad and gave it to him. I was like,
absolutely,
that's shocking.
Exactly. So, you know what I'm saying? Because that's her man. That's her responsibility.
Yeah, I'm still
mad at you.
take care of you. Like, even though I might be a little, might be in a little disagreement, but you know what I'm saying? Like, my role does not change. My responsibility does not change. You know, to you, and how we provide and care for each other does not change just because I'm a little upset with you. One
other thing I wanted to talk about while we're on the subject, and I brought up Ebony K. Williams because I thought it was so profound what she said. Not profound, but it was very intriguing to me what she talked about when she specified what she wanted in a man and what she was willing to do as a woman. And I thought to myself, okay, he pays the mortgage. We're looking at a woman. She probably, I'm gonna just go ahead and guess that she makes at least $300,000 a year. And she's a lawyer in New York. She's also on Real Housewives of New York. So I'm just going to say she at least making $300K a year, okay? When she decides to marry a man, it becomes very difficult for her to marry down. And here's why I think when we talk about this 50-50 or should a man pay at all, it really has to be a discussion that we start to really talk about more. If he's a man making an average salary, let's say for New York he's making 60-some thousand, okay? He's making a salary.
Average for New York.
What's the average for New York?
Average for New York is like closer to like 75.
Okay, so he's making 75,000. She's making 300. Can she, because she wants him to pay the mortgage, or should she expect to downgrade her lifestyle so that he can pay a mortgage that he could afford?
Well, you remember I brought that up about that on the last episode about when we talked about. You know, she wants that, you know, she's this big time lawyer. She's got all this stuff. And then now she wants him to take care of this. Well, I mean, you got to let that man, you can't overextend him like that. Because you're going to wind up killing him for him to try to keep up with you because you're making $300K. But if she can downgrade a little bit, or they can work together to either, you know, I say this: if she's really good at it, you know, wanting this man to be this way, she would actually help him to get to that place where he's making $300K too, and then they both can live that lifestyle that she wants.
Well, that sounds great. That's all great. That's good for future proof. But I'm talking about getting with him. He got to start paying a mortgage when they get together. So So what I'm saying is it okay? And maybe this is a better question for somebody like Alana. I don't know, but the question I'm asking really more is toward. What do we think about if I'm gonna pay all the bills? Then you gotta live the way I can afford to make us live or allow us to live.
Right. I mean, if that is her expectation that he pay for everything.
Her money is her money.
Her money is her money.
Right.
That he pays for everything. That she's gonna have to. There's got to be some compromise somewhere. You know what I'm saying? It's one of those you can't have your cake and eat it too situations. Like you can't expect to live the $300,000 lifestyle and he's on a $75,000 budget.
Right.
Like that's just not realistic. You know what I'm saying? Like, but if that's your expectation, you know, that he's pays for everything, then you gonna have to, you know, come up off something. Something's got to give.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Or chip in. Shit.
Freddie B.
I mean, well, it'll be interesting to see what type of lifestyle she currently lives. You know, I mean, maybe she make $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 a year, but she actually lives a $75,000 lifestyle. You know, a lot of people who do that. And so if she doing that, then the dude who makes $75K.
Well, what I mean by is in general, not even just her specifically, but like women who expect men to pay everything. Should this also be a part of the expectation that, okay, if he's I think, where were you at? Were you in Wisconsin with your prices, Alana? If he's a $35,000 man, can she rock with $35,000 can pay in rent or a mortgage?
She gonna have to. That's the thing. And I've said that I used to do my videos, and I tell women all the time, like, you can't get caught up in the potential. Like who that man is right when you met him. That's what you gotta build with. That's what you gotta be, happy with. So if you making $35K, that's the life you living. And if that's the life you don't want to live and you just can't do it, then that's you with the wrong man. You need to go find you a man that fits the bill. Because the thing is, like I said, financially speaking, intellectually, emotionally, spiritually speaking, you got to find that person that can protect and provide, and if that's what you want, that can protect and provide for those things in the faction that you need. You know what I mean? Even spiritually. If we take it spiritually, if you a woman, you in a spiritual place, you wouldn't get with a man that's like if you a Christian and you been in Christian, you reading your Bible, you're very knowledgeable about Christian dogma. It doesn't make sense for you to meet a man who, while you with him, he just came to Christ and he just started. He can do nothing for you spiritually. Emotionally. A man who's emotionally hurt, he can't guide and lead you emotionally, but emotionally you're fine, but this man is damaged. You can't be with him. It doesn't make sense. Okay, you're going to fit a square peg in a round hole. So going back to financially, it's the same concept. It's like, okay, you up here, he not there, and this is what you want, but he can't provide it. That's not the man for you. That's easy.
Well, there it is. Whew. All right. So listen, we got way too many feelings on this topic. But do I need to ask the question again? Or are we pretty set? Should a man be expected to pay the whole thing, or is 50-50 enough? What do we think?
I think it
should be expected.
You so afraid to be? You say he should be expected to pay all the bills.
Si, senor.
All right, Dr. Buddy Lee.
I say he should be expected, but there should be a conversation behind it.
Mm-hmm.
Just so there's clarity for both parties to know what's going on, with their finances.
Okay, so he should be expected, but it should be. I got confused on your answer. So it should be expected.
Yeah, it should be expected, but it's just not.
Basically, Buddy Lee saying it should be expected. I mean, because conversations, you married, hopefully you having conversations. Right. I mean, that kind of is like
I hope
understood.
so. Yeah, I hope so.
Right. Hopefully you having conversations. If you, I can't imagine somebody being married, you never have a conversation with your soon-to-be partner. So, but yeah, Buddy Lee agrees with me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or I agree with Buddy Lee.
Okay. Alana Boo.
I do not think it should be expected that he
right.
pay for everything.
The women should chip in.
If now that depends on the woman. So if she feels like that's what she wants, then that's what she should go get. But for me, I do not feel like it's expected that the man should pay for everything.
Gotcha.
In my life, I'm chipping in regardless.
I heard that. All right, y'all heard? Hey, listen, they put it on wax today.
Period.
And that's on period. I don't know who said that.
City girls, I think.
Oh, okay.
Because I look at it with Alana, what she was saying, I look at it as I'm taking care of everything, and then what she brings to the table is just added to it. It's like instead of us paying off this house in 15 years, we're gonna pay it off in 6, just because she's contributing to the table, at the same time. That's less of a burden on us, both of us.
Yeah, I'm going to add too. You know what I'm saying? I'm not just going to take from. I'm an adder.
Okay. Well, I think we definitely, I think we could talk about this all night.
Right.
Oh, my goodness. We have way too many feelings about, whether the man should pay all the bills or the woman should chip in. Should it be a 50-50 deal? Who knows? I've been here with
Shemaine Man Freddie B.
And
it's your girl Lana Boo. I'm contributing for you.
Ooh, you see how she did it on the background. And this is true. Who else?
We got the good doctor, Dr. Buddy Lee.
And you paying for it all? Oh, you gonna do it? Okay, listen, never mind. Look, and I'm yours truly, T Staples, and make sure you catch us next time when there are too many feelings. Peace.